Hello, you fine internet folks. This is Brian, and I'm gonna give some advice. So grab your beverage of choice, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Am I the jerk for smoking weed with my buddies during our school ski trip where one of them went off the tracks and broke his back? And this is from I'm 500 years old. This happened a few years ago. So me and my friends went on a school ski trip. We smuggled some weed with us because skiing wasn't really our thing and we wanted to just go and chill out. At school, we usually smoke with these two dudes that always join us and we both share our weed. We didn't really know each other, all we did was smoke during our breaks and after school. So it was only right after that that they found us during our school ski trip asking if we had some, and we did. So we smoked together a little and they went off to go skiing. We didn't know that they would go off the track after our smoking session and get injured. Seriously injured. One of the guys went off the track, fell and broke his back. Helicopter had to come out and save them since the piste that they were at was very hard to reach. The guy ended up in a wheelchair and couldn't walk for years. I've always felt guilty for never reaching out to the guy, and my other friend always felt like we were responsible for the accident. The guy can walk now and is fine, but he did get expelled from school for his irresponsible behavior, and he probably had a really hard time recovering socially and physically. Too long, didn't read. Am I a jerk for supplying weed to my smoking buddies during a ski trip and one of them getting seriously injured during a bad fall on an off-track piste? Well, I am 500 years old. I'm gonna say that you're mostly not the jerk here, and so I think you kind of touched on this a little bit during your letter here, in that you felt bad for never visiting them. Now, I'm going to say that you're definitely not the jerk for supplying them with weed. I think with them going off smoking weed and then getting injured, it's kind of on them, and certainly they didn't make a good decision, and they made some poor decisions here with the choosing to smoke and then go and ski. I think that was very irresponsible, and the reason why is because you can get hurt, and they did this time. Where I think you feel guilty more than anything isn't that you supplied them weed. I think you feel guilty that you didn't visit with them during the recovery, and you didn't help them out during the recovery. And so, if you were a jerk anywhere, it might be there. Because while you were the catalyst for this, I would say that you're not overall at fault. It might be nice to go and talk to this individual and see how they feel about the situation. Reach out to them and tell them about your feelings here, that you feel really bad and very guilty about the whole situation, and that you feel like you should have done more. There's not much you can do now. The past is the past. It's all under the bridge now. But you can, talk to this person and see if they need anything from you, and see if they share the same opinion with you as to what happened. It may be that they look at this situation completely differently than you, and that they don't feel that you're responsible at all. I think in some ways you're afraid that they were going to blame you, and that's probably why you never reached out to them. I think that's a legitimate concern, and I think that they may very well accuse you, and I think that you kind of have to decide how much culpability you have here. All in all, I would say that your culpability is fairly low, and it would be nice maybe for you to reach out to this person, but it isn't. You aren't obligated, and it isn't your fault. Again, this is a hard situation, and I know the guilt is probably eating you alive from the inside, and it sounds like it because you've thought about this a lot over the years, and enough that you're writing about it now and trying to figure out whether or not you do have any kind of culpability here. So, good news, again, I think that on a scale of 1 to 5, you might be a 1 for a jerk. But again, I would say that stems solely from not talking to this person or visiting with them when they were injured, and very little to do with the fact that you're responsible for the injury. Anyhow, good luck, and I hope that you end up talking to this person and getting this off your chest. Take care, and good luck. Am I a jerk for eating my niece's kids' meal from throwaway leftover nuggets? I'm a 28-year-old male. My nephew's 7th birthday party was at an indoor soft play park, 15 kids in total, and I was helping to chaperone. We pre-ordered kids' meals, chicken nuggets and fries for every kid. The adults were going to eat lunch afterwards back at my nephew's house. My niece didn't like the food and didn't eat much of it, so we gave her some fruit and veggie snacks we brought along instead. None of the other kids wanted her chicken nuggets and the fries, so I started eating them. A manager immediately came over and said, "You only paid for kids' meals, you didn't pay for any adult meals," and then physically tried to take the plate out of my hands. I didn't let her and said, "It's just my niece's leftovers, there's no reason I can't eat them." The manager was very blunt and very rude and said, "Adults are not allowed to order or eat off the kids' menu, so you can stop eating that right now, please." Again, I said, "They're just leftovers, they're going to go to waste otherwise, so can you please just leave me alone?" The manager would not let it go, so I deliberately ate everything in front of her in the most exaggerated way possible while she kept going over the same point. She stomped away after I'd finished. There wasn't much. Other family members mostly said it was dumb, and I should have stopped eating rather than making a scene. I obviously disagree. I know that was a pretty dumb hill to die on, but I just could not and still can't understand what the issue was. Am I the jerk? Well, leftover nuggets, I'm gonna say that you and the manager are both jerks here, and you're probably a little less of a jerk than the manager, but not by much. Maybe you would be 2 on the jerk scale, and the manager might be a 3. And the reason why is you have to kind of look at things from the manager's point of view. The manager doesn't probably personally care whether you're doing these things or not. It's not like their life, revolves around being an authoritarian figure. They're probably just doing their job, and they don't want to deal with people being stupid. They probably have an issue with people coming in and ordering off the kids' menu and then, not eating and being adults. And I think that you are actually pretty well justified in eating your niece's leftovers. I think this is kind of a dumb issue all around because adults should be able to eat whatever they want at the restaurant, and I think that, fries and chicken nuggets, if they don't have those options on the adults' menus, then I think it's kind of a silly, nonsensical thing. But that's neither here nor there. I think the crux of the issue is that there are 2 people here, and they were both having a disagreement about what the right action here was. And I think wasting food is a pretty big sin, and I think eating the leftover food didn't really do any harm. And so in that respect, you're not a jerk at all. Sure, and I think that you did something very reasonable, and I think that the manager made a big deal out of it, and that it was unnecessary. But again, I do see things from the manager's point of view here where they were just trying to enforce this store's policy, and you were making their life hard. And I think at the time you probably thought it was funny that you ate these, chicken nuggets in an exaggerated way in front of the manager, but again, each to their own, whether this was appropriate or not. So, again, I think you're both kind of at fault here, and I think that that's really what this situation boils down to. Anyhow, next time if you're at one of these places, just eat the chicken nuggets more discreetly. Am I a jerk for telling my roommate that she's pathetic and doesn't have friends? From Desert Tumbleweed. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I know the title sounds bad, but I have been at my wit's end. My roommate doesn't have any friends at college outside of our room. 4 girls total. She just doesn't. She makes no effort to get to know anyone and has never had anyone over to the apartment before. She has no hobbies or interests outside of herself, and she will gladly admit this. This would be fine. Honestly, no judgment, because not everyone needs a wide circle of friends to be happy. The other 3 of us get along fine and have wildly different goals and interests, which we all support each other in, and are also pretty outgoing. As such, we have a wide circle of friends. What frustrates me is she's making up an elaborate lie about her social life, apparently to impress her new boyfriend, who is 25. We're all roughly 20. She somehow convinced our other roommate to throw a transparently fake party for when the boyfriend visited, where she had the roommate invite all of the roommate's friends, only guys, to be passed off as though they were her friends. Anyways, the party was last night, and the only way that I could cope with the sham of it all was to drink extremely heavily. Every time someone would walk through the door, the roommate in question would put on a high affected voice, like the way you would talk to an animal, and act like she was best friends with these people. Again, 99% guys, and again, people who do not care about her. Eventually, I got really annoyed with this sham to make herself look cool, and snapped at her that she was pathetic for trying to impress her boyfriend by lying about something as dumb as having friends in college, making her roommates participate in the lie, and needing to surround herself with men who didn't care about her to feel socially validated, instead of just telling the truth, because these people are not her friends, because she doesn't have any friends. I did say this in front of her boyfriend. I do not think I would have done this if she had ever pursued a genuine friendship with any of these individuals prior to this event, or if a single person there was someone who she actually invited. I also know that I could have bitten my tongue, but drunk me wasn't feeling very generous. So am I a jerk for calling her out on this BS and telling her that the whole spectacle was pathetic and a lie about having friends? Edit. People are saying this was a cruel thing to do, so I feel the need to elaborate that this person is a compulsive liar who has subjected me to narcissistic abuse by telling elaborate lies about me for entertainment, knocking me down for my appearance, etc. She also stole this guy's social security number in an effort to get him to date her. This was not about her trying to make friends. It was about her trying to create an elaborate fantasy for him that does not actually exist by exploiting everyone around her. Well, Desert Tumbleweed, I'm going to have to say that you are a jerk in this case, and I'm going to give you a 3 out of 5 on the jerk scale. And I'm not going to give you more because this is a complicated situation. The reason why you're a jerk is that you could have confronted your roommate about this beforehand, you could have just not shown up to the party, you could have done any number of things if this was really that disgusting to you. And it seems like you're somewhat complicit in this, in that you are, there at the party and you're, enjoying yourself, at least to some degree, it seems like. And I think, again, you should have approached her in private about this and told her that what she was doing was crazy. Now, to kind of get to the narcissist point. The reason why I didn't give you more stars is because of your comment that this person is a narcissist, and if you look at your letter, it seems like you're kind of indicating that anyways, in the fact that she has to create elaborate fantasies to make herself look good. I've dealt with some very narcissistic people in my lifetime, and they do indeed do these kinds of things. They create fantasy worlds, they lie to people about the dumbest things. They always have to make themselves the center of attention, and they have to make themselves be grander than they are. And that they're, really sincerely, they think that they're these great people, the best. And this is, of course, problematic. It sounds like your roommate needs counseling. She needs to see a therapist, and she needs to understand how destructive these narcissistic behaviors are. And she is definitely a jerk in the respect that she is creating these fantasies. And if she is, tormenting you in some way, then that's really unfair to you, and it isn't a good situation for you. I think, again, you should talk to your roommate, maybe all of your roommates. You all should talk to her about her narcissistic behaviors, maybe have an intervention, and explain to her that doing this isn't appropriate. I think, again, that conversation should have come sooner, but, better late than never. Anyhow, good luck with this situation. This is a really tough situation, and it's really difficult dealing with narcissistic individuals. And I hope that you are able to come up with some kind of plan of action here that will help you and will help your roommate. It's a really sad situation, and narcissism can be a really hard thing to deal with. Alright, folks, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know if you liked my analysis of these letters. Consider giving me a thumbs up if you thought I did a good job. Consider giving me a thumbs down if you thought the advice I gave was completely wonky. And if you have any kind of advice that you want me to give you, leave a comment down below, or link to somewhere, and I'll happily read those letters and give some advice on them. Anyhow, take care and have a great day.